Yesterday I finally reached Legend in the Open Ultra League, but before we get to that, let's rewind to a couple weeks ago where you might recall we had Go Battle Weekend and I was struggling in the pits in Great League. I was literally in the 2400s. I dropped to the 2400s actually because I had reached expert in, I think it was Great League Remix. And then I dropped because for some reason this season, I just cannot grasp the open Great League meta. It's not working for me. It's not clicking for me. I don't know what to do. Whatever I try, I end up losing and dropping like crazy. So I guess don't take my advice when it comes to Great League this season. But then after hitting my head against the wall repeatedly during that first day of Go Battle Weekend in the Great League, I decided I could not take any more of this, so I was going to try the Ultra League. After all, it is my favorite meta. I just wish more people played it because the queue times are insane. But something crazy kind of happened that day. It was the second day of Go Battle Weekend. I played like 10 or 11 sets. And all of them were 5-0s and 4-1s. I kid you not. In 2 days, including the day after, I was able to climb from the 2400s to the 2900s with the Ultra League team that you guys are seeing on the screen right now. And then, of course, like last season, we got hit with the super long queue times. We couldn't find games anymore. No one was playing Ultra League. Everyone would just rather play Great League or Master League. So I couldn't find games anymore. And I was not able to make it to Legend 2 weeks ago. And then of course Great League comes back around and I'm like, I'm just 100 points away. How bad can it be? No matter what I tried, no matter what Pokemon I used, I just kept losing. Like I said, the Great League meta this season, I just can't grasp. And we ended up dropping back to the 2600s. So the games I'm going to show you guys in this video are from 2 weeks ago from that Go Battle Weekend where we went on that insane climb with this team. And in my next video, I will show you guys my Legend run from the past couple of days. And it only took us 3 days when Ultra League came back to climb back out of the 2600s into the 3000s and reach Legend. So the battles were just too good not to share with you guys. And I hope that this video is going to help anyone who is still struggling. So far, everyone I have recommended the team to has not liked it. But maybe watching my battles will clear up some questions that you might have about running the team. The team, by the way, is not perfect. It is going to be Shadow Duskmoor on the lead, with Cridilli kind of as a save swap, but it's not a really good save swap, and Guzzlord with Sludge Bomb in the back. Now the team is entirely weak to Pangoro, but out of the 75 games that I played in the past 3 days, I only saw 2 Pangoros. Did I lose to them? Yes. But I'm okay with losing a couple games here and there to a Pokemon that's not that common, as long as the team is going to perform really well against the rest of the meta. The team will also struggle quite a bit if there is a fighter in the back and you're not able to draw it out to handle it with Dusknoir. Although if that fighter is Virizion, then you have the potential to Sludge Bomb it with Guzzlord, and it's not impossible to deal with, it just gets a little bit tricky. If it's Cobalion, then it is game over, but I did not see a lot of Cobalions. I saw one in the past 3 days. It was a nightmare to deal with. I did not win that game. But that's just how it is. Not every team is going to be perfect, and not every team is going to work for everyone. Also, the meta that I was facing might end up being completely different than the meta you're facing, depending on your elo. I didn't see a lot of double fighter backlines, which would absolutely hard counter this team, but you might see some, so the team might not work out for you. In terms of Great League, I went around asking for Great League teams. A lot of my friends who reached Legend recommended their teams to me, but none of them would work for me. So it all depends on the player, and this team I don't think is an easy team to use. It requires a lot of patience, and it does require a little bit of team reading, knowing which Pokemon to come in with and to farm energy on in case your opponent has a fairy in the back, in case your opponent has an Empoleon in the back. So it does require a little bit of team reading, energy management, and like I said, patience, because a lot of the Pokemon on this team are bulky and your games will go into overtime. Aside from that, the team does struggle against some of the dragon types like Regidrago, Zygarde, and Kyurem, but they're not impossible to deal with. I do have some examples in this video and in the next video of me facing them and being able to win. And you're probably thinking now, well, this team sucks. No, I was able to climb 400 points with this team twice. Once during Go Battle Weekend and once this week when Ultra League came back. So I believe in it. It just bear with me. I promise. All right, that has been 6 minutes of me rambling. I promise the next video isn't going to be as rambly, but let's just jump into these battles. Now, we are going to lose this game. If that Florges did not have Moonblast and was running Chilling Water and Trailblaze, we might have won that. But in the next match, we're up against the Galarian Moltres on the lead, which is a terrible lead for us. For this lead, I like to swap into Guzzlord. We end up drawing out a Credilli, and we take a shield from our opponent. So at this point, I'm just going to let my Guzzlord go. I'm not going to shield anything. And then I am going to come in with my Dusknoir and go for a full farm down against this Credilli and have a ton of energy for whatever my opponent has in the back. Of course, my opponent is going to take us out here with a Rock Tomb. I'm going to come in with that Dusknoir, and I'm not going to shield the Rock Tomb. But also, I am not going to throw the Dynamic Punch on the Galarian Moltres as soon as it comes in because I'm debuffed. So instead, I'm going to save all that energy, swap out of Dusknoir, and then come in with Credilli. I do go ahead and shield the move from the Moltres just in case it is that Brave Bird. And then my opponent swaps out into a Shadow Torterra. Okay, not great for us. I'm going to go for a Grass Knot here, take the Torterra out. My opponent does not shield for some reason. And here they come in and go for a Fly. I'm just hoping that I live so that I could go for this Rock Tomb. We do live. My opponent lets it go. They know that I have energy on my Dusknoir built up, but because they let that Rock Tomb go, I will be able to double up on the Shadow Punches, and one Shadow Punch is going to be enough to take that Moltres out, and we take that win. This set is going to be a 4-1. We just got that loss against the Florges that was running Moonblast, but still doing pretty well. Now moving on to the next battle, we're going to be up against probably one of the most common leads I was facing, and that is going to be Empoleon. Now a lot of Empoleons have a fairy type in the back. Usually it's Florges, and the way I like to play this is I will build up to the Dynamic Punch, but I'll bait with a Shadow Punch in case my opponent tries to swap out and catch on a fairy type. At least I can go for that neutral damage from Shadow Punch, and they're not going to be taking resisted damage from Dynamic Punch. Our opponent does that here. They swap out into Florges. Florges is almost always the safe swap, but we're not able to take them out with our Credilli. They swap back into Empoleon. I am going to go for a Grass Knot just to stall out the switch timer because our switch timers were misaligned. And then I am going to bring in Guzzlord for Empoleon. Guzzlord does really well against Empoleon because it can reach those brutal swings really quickly. Now, the Florges isn't that threatening anymore, but our opponent is going to bring it in here. I didn't want them to reach a move, so I go for that brutal swing. I'm expecting another fairy type in the back, but it ends up being a Virizion. Okay, our Dusknoir is still pretty healthy for Virizion. Unfortunately for us, they have 2 shields left, and I am expecting them to go ahead and double shield here. I'm gonna go for another Shadow Punch. Now, here's the thing. I am going to be able to reach a Shadow Punch here, but it's not going to be enough to take this Virizion out. So instead, I'm going to do a little bit of a weird play here, but I need chip damage on this Virizion. I come in with Guzzlord, I go for a Brutal Swing, and then I'm going to bring in Credilli and try to get even more chip damage off on this Virizion. And now I know that the Shadow Punch will take it out and we win CMP. So now I can safely go for it and secure that win. All right, now moving on to the next battle, we're up against a Pokemon that we really struggle against because of how fast this Regidrago can reach those dragon energies. It is going to be a little bit tough to deal with. I'm just going to go straight Shadow Punch here. I just need to damage it. But then my opponent takes it and swaps out into a Shadow Feraligatr. Now from Feraligatr, of course, I have to watch out for Ice Beam on both of my back Pokemon. My opponent goes for it immediately here, and we end up using our final shield, which is not great, but at least we get that Feraligatr out of the way, and I'm still able to reach a Brutal Swing for this Regidrago. Now I do swap out and catch the Dragon Energy on my Dusknoir. I'm able to reach a Shadow Punch for the Empoleon that comes in, and this is not looking good for me at all because I have Credilli in the back, and Credilli is really not going to like Empoleon. So instead, I'm going to come in with Guzzlord, which thankfully is still pretty healthy, and I'm just going to start trying to damage this Empoleon as much as possible. Now he is in Grass Knot range, so there might be a little bit of hope here. We'll just have to see how this plays out, but I'm not going to throw the Grass Knot immediately, expecting my opponent to try to go for a catch on Regidrago. So instead I keep farming, but just enough to make sure that my opponent does not reach a move on Regidrago and doesn't reach a move on Empoleon. We're able to take them out with the Grass Knot, and we take that win. Now moving on to the next battle, I think the play here against this Drifblim is just to go for a full farm down. However, our opponent swaps out into Empoleon, which is really good for us. I have so much energy on the Dusknoir. I could potentially take both of my opponent's shields here, but our opponent actually lets the Dynamic Punch go, probably calling a Shadow Punch, and then they come back in with that Drifblim, and they even have to take a Shadow Punch on it. So they end up using a shield. I'm going to come in with Guzzlord. I'm going to no shield the first Icy Wind, but then I am going to shield the next one just in case I need just in case I need Guzzlord for whatever my opponent has in the back, but they end up having a Stunfisk. So we are going to bring in Credilli and start going for these Grass Knots. I just need one more Grass Knot to take this out, but I have to watch out for a catch on that Drifblim. They bring that Drifblim back in. We're able to farm them down before they reach an Icy Wind, and then I go for Rock Tomb here for some reason because my opponent has a shield left. Oh, so that I could live a Mud Bomb probably. I was, well, I would have lived the Mud Bomb either way, but I just go for 2 Rock Tombs and we take that Stunfisk out. I mean, I did that because I had Guzzlord in the back, and just in case my opponent was going to take us out with 2 Mud Bombs, and then I had to come in with Guzzlord, I would have preferred the debuff. But yeah, weird plays, but we get the 5 out. Anyways, moving on to the next battle, we are up against a Florges on the lead, another really common lead I was seeing. Now, a lot of them are running Chilling Water and Trailblaze, but if you do get hit with that Moonblast on the lead, then that is unfortunate, but I don't like to shield anything. This ends up being a Chilling Water, and I think we took a shield from our opponent. Yeah, we did take that first shield from them, and I'm going to let the next Chilling Water go. I don't want to shield anything here. I know that I could come in with Credilli and farm down. However, our opponent catches the next move on a Fortress. Okay, it's running Volt Switch. So I can come in with Credilli, and I know that the Rock Tombs on Credilli are going to be doing neutral damage, and they are going to be debuffing this Fortress. Now the debuffs from Credilli are going to start adding up, and they're going to start getting really annoying. So our opponent is going to go ahead and swap here into a Shadow Torterra, and I am going to bring in our Guzzlord. And we have 2 shields left, and our opponent has 1 shield left. So I think I am going to have to shield whatever the opponent throws, but for some reason I am saving my shields, I guess, for the next game. But they let the next Brutal Swing go either way, expecting that Florges to come back in, so I am going to bring in Credilli. I have to shield here because the Florges had so much energy. In case it's a Moonblast, I did not want to get hit with that. We're able to take the Florges out, and then our opponent brings that Fortress back in. We can reach a Rock Tomb and take the Fortress out and take that win. All right, next battle, we're up against a Pokemon that the team is really going to struggle against, and that is Kyurem. So I like to let the first Glaciate go on my Dusknoir, and then I will build up to a Dynamic Punch, but I'll throw the Shadow Punch just to take shield from my opponent. I should be able to reach another Shadow Punch. However, our opponent actually manages to catch it on Feraligatr. Now, I am going to bring in Guzzlord. I have to watch out for the Ice Beams from this Feraligatr. And if I could leave this matchup with a little bit of energy for Kyurem, that could be really good for me. So we managed to shield the Ice Beam, and I'm actually able to farm the Feraligatr down and have a ton of energy for this Kyurem. Now here my opponent is going to go for that Glaciate, but I'm not going to shield it. I'll be honest, I don't know what I did there. Maybe I thought Dusknoir could live a Dragon Breath and I could snipe the Kyurem. But we get super lucky because our opponent's final Pokemon is a Jellicent, and Guzzlord is absolutely going to destroy this Jellicent. I can reach a third Brutal Swing for the opponent. It's going to land because they have no shields left, and then they are going to take us out here with a Surf, saving my final shield for Credilli because I know that the Kyurem is going to be able to reach another Glaciate, but we're going to be able to farm the Kyurem down, and then our opponent is going to go ahead and top left, and we take that win. On to the next battle. Yet again, another Pokemon that's a little bit tricky for this team to deal with. Now, I don't shield the first move from the Galarian Weezing just in case the opponent is running Sludge and Overheat. They didn't build up to an Overheat, so it could have been a potential Sludge bait, but it ends up being a Brutal Swing. So I do shield the second Brutal Swing. I need to weaken this Weezing just a little bit more, and here I am comfortable with bringing Credilli in and farming this Pokemon down. I will have a ton of energy for whatever is going to come in next. We just have to take a Sludge, and it ends up being a Feraligatr. Hopefully I could take their final shield here, but no, they no-shield the Rock Tomb, and then I swap out into Guzzlord, going for that Brutal Swing immediately, but unfortunately I still have to take an Ice Beam, so I am going to go ahead and give up my final shield. Our opponent's final Pokemon is a Gastrodon, so this might be okay for us. That Weezing is still alive in the back, but it's not threatening because it's super low. I think it's like 1 HP, 1 fast move away from being KO'd. And the Gastrodon is in the red right now. I'm able to reach another Brutal Swing. Hopefully this takes my opponent's final shield, and then I can come in with Credilli. But I have to watch out for a potential catch onto that Weezing. However, I saw the Mud Slap come in, so I do one more Acid, go for a Grass Knot, take that Gastrodon out, and then we can Acid the Weezing down and take that win. Moving on to the next battle, we're up against another Galarian Weezing. This time it's Shadow. And again, I'm just going to let the first move go. This is definitely going to be a Brutal Swing because they only did 4 Fairy Winds. I'm going to go for a Shadow Punch here to weaken the Weezing. I just need to weaken it before bringing in Credilli. Now they go ahead and shield, so I am going to return that shield. I'm going to do one more Astonish before going for a Shadow Punch, really hoping it lands. It lands, and we actually manage to take it out, and then my opponent is going to bring in that Feraligatr. Okay, could this be the same team that we faced in the previous game? Let's see, but I am going to have to bring in Guzzlord here because the Hydro Cannons are going to hurt our Credilli, and this Pokemon is super spammy. So I'm going to go for a Brutal Swing here, take my opponent's final shield, which is telling me that whatever they have in the back, it might be weak to Guzzlord, and it ends up being a Shadow Dusknoir from our opponent. So this could be a little bit tough if my opponent reaches a Dynamic Punch and a Shadow Punch for our Credilli. However, we are able to reach that Grass Knot, take the Dusknoir out, and then we would have been able to Acid the Feraligatr down, and our opponent goes ahead and top lefts. In the next match, we're up against a Fortress on the lead. If it's running Bug Bite, then our Dusknoir is going to do really well against it, but our backline is really going to struggle. I don't see what the fast move is, and our opponent just swaps out immediately into an Oranguru, which Guzzlord is absolutely going to wall. I am going to make sure that I come out of this matchup with so much energy. However, they go ahead and swap out into a Zygarde. Okay, this is going to get a little bit tricky, And now I am hoping that that fortress is on Volt Switch in case I need to handle it with our Credilli. Now, I do go for 2 Brutal Swings against this Zygarde before swapping out into Credilli, and it looks like they are on Volt Switch. I'm going to be able to start going for these Rock Tombs. I got some energy from that Zygarde matchup, so I am in a slightly advantageous position here because I was able to debuff them before they debuffed us. But now you guys are going to see the full power of Credilli because we live a Rock Tomb here. I'm going to be able to go for another Rock Tomb against this fortress. But our opponent tries to farm us down, but we live the Volt Switches. We can go for another Rock Tomb, take the fortress out, and then it is going to be our Guzzlord up against their Zygarde, sorry. But at this point, I am saving both my shields for Dusknoir. I know that the Oranguru does have quite a bit of energy built up, so they will be able to reach those Brutal Swings. I'm going to go ahead and shield here, and I should be able to reach a move for Zygarde if I go for a full farm down here. So I'm going to go ahead and use my final shield. I will be able to farm down, and we are going to go for that Dynamic Punch, just in case the Shadow Punch doesn't KO because Zygarde is super bulky. And again, another win with the team. On to the next battle, we're going to see another pesky Regidrago. Regidrago is so good. If you could guarantee that it wasn't going to align to an Empoleon or a Fairy type, which are super common this season. But this time I play a little bit different and I let the Dragon Energy go, and then my opponent manages to catch her next Shadow Punch on a Feraligatr in the back. Again, seeing a lot of people running Regidrago on the lead with Feraligatr in the back, but I am going to choose to shield a potential Ice Beam here and come out of this with a little bit of energy for Regidrago. If they bring Regidrago back in, but they don't, they bring in Empoleon, which is actually better for me because I have that Credilli in the back, but they have 2 shields left, so let's see how this is going to go. At least Guzzlord is super spammy with these Brutal Swings, which are going to hit for neutral, so I'm able to reach another Brutal Swing here. It lands, but at this point, I think I would have preferred to take a shield from the opponent so that I could land a Grass Knot from Credilli. They have a shield left. I'm not going to be able to farm them down with Credilli. So I come in with Dusknoir, hoping to Astonish down. However, our opponent swaps out back into that Regidrago, and at least I'm able to farm them down with Credilli. I did have to go ahead and shield the Dragon Energy because I think that would do more damage than whatever Empoleon was going to throw. And here I go for the Rock Tomb instead of the Grass Knot so that I could survive whatever they throw here. And we're actually able to farm the Empoleon down with Resisted Acids from Credilli. On to the next battle. Again, we are going to see another Empoleon on the lead. I do play this a little bit differently now. I do let the move go from Empoleon, but I am going to farm up to that Dynamic Punch, hoping to take a shield from my opponent, but they don't shield, which is a little bit annoying, but I will be able to reach another Shadow Punch. However, my opponent goes ahead and takes it on Togekiss. Okay, they have 2 shields for this Togekiss, and I only have 1 shield for Credilli, so I might have to take an Aura Sphere, but I am going to be able to go for a Rock Tomb here, which takes a shield from the opponent, and we are going to have to take an Aura Sphere. They won't be able to reach another one at least, and I will be able to farm them down. However, our opponent goes ahead and swaps out into Empoleon. Okay, I think I could farm down with Credilli, but I am going to come in here and go immediately for that Rock Tomb, which our opponent lets go, and their final Pokemon, thank goodness, is not another Fairy type, but it is going to be a Torterra. I go for a move from Credilli, but I end up going for the Rock Tomb instead of the Grass Knot, hoping to take my opponent's final shield, or at least get a debuff. That way Guzzlord can have a slightly more comfortable matchup against his Pokemon. And it looks like we might be able to win this because the next move that my opponent is going to throw, the Frenzy Plant, is not going to be enough to KO our Guzzlord. We will be able to reach another Brutal Swing, and then with 1 more Dragon Tail, we can take that Torterra out and take that win. Now, this is going to be the final battle of the video. Unfortunately, it is going to be a loss, but we still managed to get a 4-1 in the set, and we climb to the 2900s. At that point, I kind of stopped finding matches in Ultra League. The queue times were way too long. And then the next day, it switched over to Great League, and we dropped. So I am going to go ahead and sign off here. But we do get another fortress on the lead. You can see how the meta is quite condensed. We're not seeing a wide variety of Pokemon like the wide variety of Pokemon that you would see in Great League, which is why I feel like Ultra League is really, really good for climbing because you can easily grasp the meta. It's literally a pool of like 15 Pokemon. You run into the same 15 Pokemon in each game, and there aren't that many surprises. It's literally Bellibolt, Florges, Empoleon Fortress, Lapras here and there. You get a lot of Gastrodons for alligators. You know, it's very predictable, which is why I believe Ultra League is one of the best leagues for climbing if you're willing to make that investment. All right, I'm gonna go work on that second video, which is going to take forever because I have so many battles recorded from the Legend run. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Maybe leave a like, it helps me out so much. And I will see you guys in the next one, which should be out soon. Bye-bye.